da 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 da. Hey guys, welcome back to the Bucket Think Tank, another round of comic chat. And today we've got 3 books today. I decided, randomly, you know what? We have 3 Disney books. Why not just do a segment just for them? Is it a good idea? Maybe. Is it a bad idea? Probably. But if we add the Uncle Scrooge comics into it, we usually have something going on here. Although I think Gargoyles is almost over, so that'll be depressing. But, we still have the Disney villains stuff going on, and still the Uncle Scrooge stuff, and we might dig back into Darkwing Duck with some other stuff. But either way, here we are. So Gargoyles issue 6. When we last left off with this, Goliath had been arrested and was in jail, and Brooklyn and company had gone to break him out, and Goliath realized, hey, don't come and save me. You gotta go, alright? He's gonna stay here. And so we pick up here, but what's interesting is this story is told from Brooklyn's perspective for the most part. And Brooklyn talks about how right now it feels like he's drowning, like he's sort of being overwhelmed by everything that's going on here. And it's important to note that Brooklyn is Goliath's second in command. So, in a sense, this is all falling on him. In the event that that Goliath is not available, or is, incapacitated, or unable to perform his duties, Brooklyn is in charge. And Brooklyn's always sort of buckled at that. Like, he wants to be in charge, he wants to be second in command, but he's always had to deal with this sort of insecurities to it. Like, when Goliath, Angela, and Bronx went missing, Goliath and Lisa went missing, they'd been on Avalon, Brooklyn was so hesitant to take a proactive stance. Everyone was like, what are we going to do? He's like, I don't know. He would often let Hudson sort of take it, and Hudson had to, goad him into it. Like, is that what you want us to do? Leader? But now here he is, sort of a bit more confident now after his adventures traveling through time. He's shocked to find that Goliath doesn't want to go. Like, no, I need to stay here, because here's the thing. If you coming in here, attacking the guards, and getting me out, violence against the humans will only resort in the entire city going against the clan. And that doesn't benefit anybody, alright? And he points out what he wants to do now is test the theory. He wants to see if humans and gargoyles in this present day can truly, exist together. He's willing to sacrifice himself. It's like, hey, look, if I die, if, I get a horrible trial, then we sort of reach the agreement that, hey, we never could get together. But he's willing to put his faith in humanity that, hey, the system's going to work, and go from there. But either way, we need to find out. So he tells them, hey, you guys got to go. And so Brooklyn leaves, and he's tells Cold Stone, hey, he's made his decision, so this is ours. And then we cut to Dino. So Dino talks about how he knew that Sanchez and Peter Choi, that Rosario Sanchez and Peter Choi would be together, and that they were a couple. And he points out something from the story, from the episode High Noon, from Season 2 of Gargoyles, when he read an article about Rosario Sanchez and Peter Choi. They helped save a drowning kid in Central Park. And he's like, those are kids from 2 of the biggest gangs in New York. How? They're dating. And so that's what led to him doing his thing. So that's why he was able to arrange that attack at the park, because he knew they'd be there. So, okay, this shows that Dino isn't... Is it Dino? I think it's Dino. Why can't I remember him? He's clearly the chaotic person. He's the Ramsey Bolton of... I can't remember anything about this guy. I feel... Dracon of the Dracon family. So, yeah, there's that. And this whole story has been setting up that he is the dangerous one here. So, even more so, he arranges for an accident for one of the other members of the group, and that's interesting there. Then we cut to the courthouse, and the question is exactly what sort of treatment will Goliath get? And this is always the big part here, what will happen to Goliath? Because the big question is, Goliath is a gargoyle. Do gargoyles get the same treatment as humans do, under the law? Does he deserve a day in trial? The defense argues that Goliath he's not an animal. He may not be human, but unlike other animals, he can read, he can write. He reads Dostoevsky. He's articulate, he's well-spoken, so he's clearly not some barbarian with some sort of animal instincts that try, he's pretty much has a human-level intelligence, so he should be granted human-level rights. I think that's a good argument. But the judge hasn't made his ruling yet. So now we cut to, well, the next day, well, that night, because Goliath has to be there to hear the ruling. And so what's going on here now? At the castle, everyone's agreed, like, hey, we're going to keep on tight alert. We're going to see if we can get some defense, a proper defense. But before anything else happens, Antoinette Dracon wants to speak to Broadway. It's interesting that she chose Broadway, so she definitely does know that Broadway has been a thorn in Dominic Dracon's side for a while, or at least Tony Dracon's side for a while. And Broadway, more than any of them, distrusts the Dracons. And what she's pointing out is, hey, my uncle has this thing planned, and it's going to throw the city into chaos. Alright, and she needs their help to put a stop to it. So that's cool in itself, that we're digging up the fact that, hey, Broadway had this really cool detective stint. He was Elisa's partner out in the field. It was really one of my favorite episodes, really, about that. And now Brooklyn is back to talking about his time traveling through the timelines, fixing things there, how things were simpler there. And he kind of, I think it sort of implies he wants to go back to that. But anyway, we then have a moment where Broadway and Lexington go off to where a set event's going to happen with Dino. And Broadway talks about the ceremony he's going to undergo with Angela. And Broadway also mentions the person, or whoever, that Lexington's talking to. And he's like, I'm happy for you. But in regards to the ceremony, he wants Lexington to effectively be his best man. I'm like, oh, yay! Lex is... Yeah, first of all, Lex has someone. We know Lex is gay. Alright, I'm pretty sure. I know Greg Wiseman. I don't know Greg Wiseman. If I've met Greg Wiseman and don't know about it, I won't live it down. But if what Greg Wiseman said is true, that he does think Lex is gay, just hasn't realized it yet, then I think this is what we're leading up to. But I thought this was only supposed to be 8 issues. So how are we going to squeeze that in, or is this all we're going to get? Which is fine. We don't have to, push it out there. Lexington clearly isn't ready to come forward with that part of himself, or at least this relationship yet. And that's totally fine. Hopefully we'll get more of Greg Wiseman's Gargoyles in the future. But anyway, the sting goes down. Everyone's going out there. There's Glasses. Oh, Glass is another mainstay. I love this world. The Gargoyles go in, and it turns out old Dino was ready for him, and he's going in. And so the next day, Dominic and company, Dino and company meet up, and they require the aid of some muscle. Clancy Brown. Pretty much. I think it's Fang? Like, here's the thing. He was like my least favorite person of the pack. There's Jackal, Hyena, those two morons, Dingo, and it's Claw, wasn't it? It's Claw, all right, because he didn't actually have a thing, because it's not Wolverine, is it? No, it's Jackal, Hyena, Dingo. Coyote was the trickster god, so that wasn't a thing, and then we have Claw. Yeah, so yeah, he has a grudge with the Gargoyles. So the question is, what's going to happen here? Is where we're going with this, like, how do they find Claw? But whatever. He just has nothing else to do with his life. Because look at him. So ultimately, that's how the comic ends. So I was a bit disappointed we didn't get the ruling from the judge before the end of this issue. But I think we'll get more into the trial later. Hopefully in the next issue. The fact that the Gargoyles are now involved in what Dino Dracon is doing, I think, is really cool, because if we don't push that story more, it's going to start to fall to the wayside. I would like to see if Tony Dracon has anything to say about his uncle. He was very quiet and almost seemed to be nervous when he heard that Dino had gotten out of prison. And now his sister Antoinette is like, no, this is bad. So I do like that, but I'm more interested in the trial. And next we have part of the Disney villain series, Scar. Alright, so when we last left off with this, we saw the 2 vultures were set to manipulate Scar into essentially throwing the Prylons into chaos so they can eat forever. I don't quite like this idea because it sort of takes away a sense of autonomy from Scar. I like the idea of his bad ideas, just his own bad ideas. But anyway, our story opens up with Zebras feeling like, something feels kind of off. And they suppose, like, you're worried about Scar, aren't you? You're worried about Scar. Because, yeah, they have Simba now, so Scar is no longer next in line for the throne, but Scar is still dangerous. And before they can really go in depth with this and talking about flies and a particular breed of fly that just never goes away, aka Scar, they're then hunted by the lionesses. And they're flanked, and it happens, and there's a really cool scene where before they eat, they give like a blessing to the food. They thank the zebra for its quote-unquote sacrifice and the great circle of life, and the fact that they will repay this by their body returning to the soil or to the ground. Because as Mufasa said, when we die, our bodies become the grass, and the antelope eat the grass. So they're all connected to the circle of life. So every life still feeds back into the cycle. So yeah, they got to eat the zebras, but they'll become the grass that the zebras feed on. So it works out, and because Mufasa, as a lion, puts a hold on hunting, so no one overhunts, it all works out too. There's also a mention here that this is an unofficial hunting party. So usually the main hunting party consists of Mufasa, Sarabi, and they go out and they hunt. And the idea is the royal family eats first, and the rest of the lionesses eat with the cubs. Alright, now Scar points this out, like, hey, that's a bit unfair, isn't it? You're just as good as they are. What separates you from them? Which is actually stupid, because Scar just wants to put himself above everybody else. But whatever. The whole point of this is, it puts the idea into the heads of these lionesses that, maybe they should side with Scar. Maybe Scar is the right choice if he's going to let us be the first to eat. This is the question of the haves and the have-nots. Isn't it fair? It's unfair, really. But anyway, before he gets that, they sort of brush him off. But again, the idea's in their heads. That's all Scar needed. But anyway, he's then met by the vultures, alright? And the plotter here, he calls himself Karib, and this is his buddy Crass, and they can help him become king. Alright, to do that, though, they're going to need the Bone Eaters. And Scar does not care for the Bone Eaters, but even he is not unaware of how dangerous they are, like how great of hunters they are. Well, not hunters, actually hyenas are scavengers, but their jaws can break bone, and they're fast, so they are a good force to have. As a matter of fact, hyenas in large groups will just destroy a single lion. Alright? So it is a good muscle to have. So they go off to the elephant graveyard. And what I think is interesting about the elephant graveyard scene is really just Scar's little thought about the elephant graveyard. The fact is that he has a lot of memories there that he used to run away here to be alone. And that Wretched Place is more of a home than Pride Rock. And so, in a lot of ways, you sort of get the feeling there is a certain tragedy to Scar. That maybe he has some unresolved issues that, was never brought up to us, the reader. And the question is this going to justify anything? Like, what is Scar's problem? Will we find out? I don't know. Highly doubt it. Anyway, he then comes face to face with Bone Eaters, aka the hyenas. So, ultimately, issue 2 of Scar is alright. It's not great, but I like the idea that we're seeing the seeds being sown into what's going to lead Scar to, killing Mufasa. Well, first trying to kill Simba. Him talking to other lionesses and seeing how their culture works. The fact that the lionesses don't eat first. The royal family eats first, and then the lionesses eat with the cubs. It is kind of unfair, but, it has been appointed to be the king, alright? So there is that. I like the idea that Scar is messing with heads, trying to cultivate this group of personalities, these followers to Scar, which is, I guess, will attempt to explain the Lion King too, because you have all these people who are dedicated to Scar that were nowhere in the first Lion King. Like, these pride lands belong to Scar. We haven't seen Sarabi yet. Every lion is named here was not named Sarabi. I checked, no. So we'll see where that goes. Meeting the leader of the Bone Eaters, aka the hyenas, I think is going to be fun. But it's also interesting that we haven't met Mufasa yet. Like, we probably won't meet Simba again, but the fact we haven't met Mufasa is interesting because this all takes place after Scar's conversation with Mufasa at the end of in the first movie after the presentation of Simba. So now we're trying to see exactly where Scar's headspace is, what are the events that lead him to betraying everything he's ever known. But this issue went to show us that there really isn't a lot of love and loyalty that Scar has for Pride Rock, for the Pride Lands, for his brother. All he cares about is that in his mind he is the best qualified to be king. He should be king. So yeah, it's weird. We'll see where that goes. And finally, we have Maleficent, issue 2. So, this one it's continuing where we left off with the first issue, where a moron named Reynard thought he could steal from Maleficent and got turned into some horrid little cat creature and was left to run. So, issue 2 picks up with a young prince coming around looking through Maleficent's domain. Diablo rats him out, and he comes face to face with Maleficent. Well, first a snake, sent by Maleficent, and he's like, "Oh, hi, ma'am, how you doing? I'm Prince Gavin. I'm looking for my brother Reynald. Maybe you've seen him." And to Maleficent's credit, she does not hide the fact, I probably know him. So tell me about him. And he points out that, Reynard sort of buckled under the demands of his parents. He is the second-born son of the king. So there's that. I'm trying to figure out who's his dad. It can't be King Stefan. Actually, what if it was? What if this takes place before the events of Sleeping Beauty? I don't know. So anyway, they go off. What if this does set the state? Anyway, we're getting off track. So he's looking for his brother, and she's like, "Oh, him. Alright, so let me tell you what happened, alright? So he tried to steal from me, and I turned him into a cat." And he's like, that doesn't really sound like Reynard. But he points out, "Look, my brother is..." He basically, "Look, my brother is stupid and whatnot. Is there anything you can do? Can we get you to turn him back?" She's like, "Nah, I don't want to do that. First of all, I don't know where he is, so I have no interest in looking for him. So, yeah, you're on your own, buddy." And she's still not going to turn him back. Like, he's better off that way. And to be fair, Reynard was incredibly stupid, incredibly arrogant. This was bound to happen. He'll be a better cat person, mangy animal for the better. There you go. So, this leads to Maleficent laughing at it, sort of enjoying everything, and it leads to pretty much a fight. He's like, he wants to save his brother. He knows not what he does. But again, like I told you, the premise of this story pretty much is fuck around and find out. Pretty much. And there's a fight going on between Maleficent and Gavin. Gavin's got a sword. Gavin tries to reach the sword. He runs off like, "This isn't over, Maleficent!" And Diablo's like, "You want me to go get him?" And she's like, Nah, this will be fun. And she laughs maniacally as the comic ends. I don't get what this story is. It's sort of hilarious to watch people go in and think they can throw hands with Maleficent. I'm left to think this does take place before the events of Sleeping Beauty. I don't know. But I think that makes the most sense. It'd be really interesting if these are King Stefan's firstborn sons. These are his sons. And over the course of the story, Maleficent does get rid of them. So, is King Stefan not the right to not invite Maleficent? Look, no, I don't want her here. No, because if she shows up, she's going to say some stuff, and I'm going to say some stuff, and then more people are going to die. Alright? Who knows? Ultimately, this was alright. Again, but still weird. I don't quite get the point of any of this. Here's the thing. Wrong button. With this one, I get the build-up. I get where we're going. Alright? With this beautiful, beautiful work, I really don't care. It's just great. It can do whatever it wants. But this, I don't quite get what we're like. What are we learning about anything? Are we learning about Maleficent? Are we learning that there is a sort of playful side to her, i.e., let the people torture themselves? I don't quite get it. Overall, though, do I hate this? No, far from it. I think it's alright. But it's just sort of boring. I'm going to keep reading it because I like to see what Maleficent does. I like to see sort of chaotic nature to her. And I think next issue they said that she's going to send Diablo into a castle or something. So we'll see where that goes. Hopefully there'll be some twist in this. I like to see Maleficent in trouble. Something that she can't just power her way out of. Being the mistress of all evil. Let's see where that goes. But anyway, with that in mind, let's bring this video to close here. If you are new to the Bug Authentic, feel free to like, comment, share, subscribe. Smash the thumbs up button. Let me know what you think about these stories. And I'll catch you all later. This is Bug Authentic signing off. Thanks for watching. And as always, may your fandom serve you well.